So one of the questions that's come up in the chat is, do you have any examples of publicly traded companies that you would say kind of get this right? Now, could I also say one thing that is a particular bugaboo of mine as a business school professor and so forth? You know, we study, by definition, we study companies who are made up of imperfect human beings who never get everything exactly right, who occasionally screw up in a big way. But I think it's really important for people to remember you can have a great, well thought through process with everything going right. Coronavirus happens, you know, and all your well-laid plans and terrific processes are thrown out the window, and you got to sort of start from scratch. And you can be terrible, horrible, unthinking, you know, staggeringly blind and be in the right place at the right time. So one of the big problems I see with strategy in general is we tend to confuse the outcome with how good the strategy was. And my friend Phil Rosenzweig calls this the halo effect. He says, because we know the outcome, obviously everything that company did was received wisdom. But that doesn't mean we can't learn from the ones that maybe didn't succeed or the ones that didn't move forward. You know, one of the most interesting stories that I've been following recently is the story of General Magic. Remember General Magic? I mean, they invented pretty much everything that today has become part of our lives in the modern cell phone, but they were way ahead of their time, you know, which doesn't negate anything that they did. So I think that's kind of an important thing to remember. So back to the question of how do you differentiate between, how do you find an organization or two that are pretty good at this?
So I am going to steal one of the things you say all the time, because I found it a very brilliant tactic actually in the field. Because I get people asking me, you know, how do I know if my company is really taking innovation seriously? And I call it now the Rita McGrath test.
Thank you. I have a test named after me. That's my 15 minutes of fame right there.
So basically, you know, what you said, I found that extremely powerful, and I use this literally as a test now. I ask, you know, how much time does your CEO spend on innovation every week? And, you know, looking into the agenda, you know, seeing what are the concrete things? How much time does the CEO spend with, you know, future, not, you know, clients who are not yet clients, but are completely out there, spend with the teams, with the innovation lead, et cetera, et cetera. If for me, if it's not 50%, 40 to 50% of his or her time, this, you know, this company is never going to innovate. And I'm not talking R&D, you know, you can have R&D and not innovate, right? So we've seen that in a couple of companies. So for me, that's the #1 test that shows the seriousness. And, you know, one of the companies we like, and maybe Yves can talk about that a bit, where that is the case, is Logitech, with Bracken Darrell at the helm.
Yes, I think Bracken Darrell spent maybe 70% of his time for exploration. And in his strategy, he decided to took 70% of the profit of the execution machine for exploration, which is huge for a medium company, if you want.